Hi, I'm David Roscoff, and I'm Automation Addict, and I'm going to go through, in this tutorial, how to create a data object. Um, Data objects are very useful. What they do is they allow us to take control over what we're selecting. So, for instance, in our example, um, we're using mormon.org slash people, and the mormon.org slash people site. There is a couple things that we can turn into data options. One is gender, one is age, and one is ethnicity. Now what I would want to do here is I would want to create a data object called gender and have it have two parameters, one male, one female. The same thing for age. And I know you're kind of getting lost here, probably, if you're new to programming. Hopefully at the end of this tutorial you'll kind of get it. I'm going to start, but I'm going to create a new class. And I'm going to call my class search.cs. Now, I'm going to make my class public. And in this file, I'm also going to create my data object. So I'm going to do a public class gender. I'm going to do a public class age. And I'm going to do a public class ethnicity. Now my gender, you hit F12 and go into your development tools. Or just right click and spy on elements. You're going to notice that each option has two things. It has a text value, and then it has a blank value. And so here, I'm going to capture the text. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a, this is called parameter. What you do is you use public string and then what you want to name your parameter. And then inside you do get and set. And this will create a parameter for this class. The other one I'm going to want to do is value. I'm going to get and set. I'm going to go down. Next I need to instantiate it. So I'm going to say gender string text. We're going to put in two values, a string and a value. And when a person creates this class, we're going to go ahead and have them fill out the text values here. So text equals the value passed in, and value equals the value passed in. This might be a little overwhelming maybe at first, but hopefully this will make sense in just a second. And so just stick with me. Next I'm going to create a static. I'm actually going to call the class in itself. So I'm actually going to call static, public static, gender. I'm going to do male. Actually I'll do not selected. That's the first value, is not selected. And I'm going to say that equals a new gender. The text value for that was selected gender. And the other value was nothing, so we'll leave that empty. I'm just going to copy this and paste it for the other two. I'm going to do one for male. This one had the string male. And then this one had a single character in for the value. And this one's the same way. female, F for the character, female. So there is my first object right there. Now if I go into Mormon.org, in my search, instead of taking and I'll inherently go over by doing this, so instead of taking an actual any string, we're going to help our application be more stable. We're actually going to take a parameter gender, and then for now we'll still have a string for age and a string for keyword. Now notice how this is named the same. As long as there's different parameters on the inside, this is called what's called an overriding method. You can use the same name. However, if you have the same kind of attributes, meaning you have 3 strings, it'll give you an error. But notice here I have a data object for my first one, and then 2 strings, and so hence it allows me to do this overriding method. And this I'm actually just going to call search. I'm going to do gender.value, and I'm going to pass in age and keyword. What this does now is it allows me to go up here and refactor. So here I can say gender dot, and now I have my choices: female, male, or not selected. So I'm going to do female for this one, and same thing here. Gender dot, and I can do female, male, and I'm going to do male. And so what this does is it makes it so that I don't accidentally, so that the tester doesn't accidentally put in the wrong value. Having pulled those out into a data object, I can just call the data object and pass it in as a parameter. And so now if I go through and run this, it'll act the same way as it did with the previous 2 episodes. And there you go. Task completed. Look at my Test Explorer, it passed just fine in 10 seconds. And so that is how you create a simple data object. I like to keep my data objects into its own separate page. In my next episode, I'll go over how to move your methods into a page level as opposed to keeping it on the testing level. And so I'm David Roscoff, and I'm an automation addict.